from there. Yeah, so thank you very much for joining us. As you can see, I'm still in the office, so I'm hoping that you know that I prioritized you guys. You are quite special people. So let's start and try to ensure that we manage time as much as possible. So firstly, welcome again to the induction. This is what we will cover for today. We will cover yes, we will cover the, just a few seconds. Yes, we will cover the welcoming introduction. We'll also look at the requirements for you to complete the course, how to approach your portfolio of evidence. This has changed, right? Today we are looking at calculations, right? So just remember that. Today we are looking at calculations. Then we'll also give you some time to give us feedback. Just remember, I'm always repeating this, that if you want to contact us, write an email to support@aquatraining.com. It doesn't matter what the issue is. So any other issue that you might have, it might be your submission of your POE, the fact that you have a question, your assignment is not marked. So try to send us that feedback through that email. You'll get a ticket. That means you are able to track that specific section, as needed. Just remember, we have requirements for completing your course. Number one is that you must read, right? The summative assessment, which you write at the end, is quite difficult because it's a multiple choice question. For one reason or the other, people are complaining that, no, it's very difficult. No, it only reflects that maybe you forgot to read, right? So please prioritize it. Let's try to ensure that we read. You have the resource guide, which we have shared with you. And then also using the materials found on the resource guide, you need to compile your portfolio, of evidence. So it's very important. So you read, you take what you have read, and then you apply it in your learner assessment guide to ensure that you are able to complete your portfolio of evidence. Sorry about that. I think I have a network issue today, but I'm hoping that, yeah, few seconds. I'm hoping you are able to hear me. Sorry about that. Just a glitch. So to qualify for the course, remember you have to and get your certificate. You would have to submit your portfolio of evidence. That's quite important. And then at the end, we will be given access to your summative assessment. Like I said, it is a multiple choice question that you need to pass. Remember that. And then once you have passed your summative assessment, that gives you access to your practical component where you would be asked to do certain tasks. And this is an open book. So usually with the practical assessment, people are not struggling, but the majority of people are struggling with the multiple choice. And why? This is because your multiple choice section requires you to really practice the theory. So as we go through, you know, the POE, please don't miss the fact that you need to read now. So today we are looking at how to approach your portfolio of evidence, and specifically looking at the dispensing calculations. In terms of today, we are going to review the learner assessment guide, specifically looking at activity number 4. And then you may visit page 30 in your learner assessment guide. And then in terms of your resource guide, the key pages that you need to look at are page 133 and page 145. So that is very important for you to note, right? And I'm hoping that it will be a session, you know, before we go through some of the work, I don't want you to get stressed. Please make sure that you have a pen and paper, and then you also have your calculator, you know, next to you, because we are going to have to do some exercises today, right? So it's exciting, it's calculations, and by God's grace, we are able to, all of us, learn and not be, you know, afraid. So here's maybe let's do it this way. Let's start with your assessment guides. So just remember that there's 2 guides that you need to follow. The first one is what we call the resource guide. It's very important. This is where you find your learning, So let's start with your first exercise for today. So can you at least give this a try? So this is the first calculation. The usual dose of citrate is 2 milligrams per kilograms of body weight. This should be given 3 times a day for 1 to 3 weeks, right? Can you determine the dose for an 80 kg adult? Can you at least try? Remember, mathematics, we can't teach you by watching. Yeah? So, how do you start? So let's do it together, right? So you've got a drug, which when given under normal circumstances, it's given as 2 milligrams per kilogram, right, of body weight. And it's given 3 times per day, usually for 1 to 3 weeks, right? So what is a dose for an adult who weighs 80 kgs, right? So how do you go about doing that, right? So you've got 2 milligrams, right, per kilogram, right? And you've got a male or a female who weighs 80 milligrams. So what do? You then multiply 80 kgs, right, over 1, which is equals to what? So this kg will cancel that kg. 2 times 80 is 160 milligrams. So this patient, an 80 kilogram adult, will get 160 milligrams per dose. So then it will be, because remember it's 2 milligrams per kg of body weight, and this 2 milligrams per kg, the patient must get it 3 times per day. So your prescription will then say, I'm going to just take a shortcut and say DB citrate, right? Citrate, 160 milligrams per ounce, 8 hourly, right? Right. So that's how you would give it. And you can say this is for, let's say we're giving it for 2 weeks, then it will be for 2 over 52 weeks. So we are saying this is 2 weeks, all right? Are we together?
Yes, doctor.
Is it difficult?
Not at all.
It's the simplest of them all, right? Yeah, so this is quite important that you are able to convert, right? And maybe just for I don't know how to explain what I want to explain to you, because we are trying to teach maths to adults, which might be an issue. Yeah, just remember that when we say something is 2 milligrams per kg, when you hear the word per, it means we are dividing, right? So you've got 2 milligrams over 8 kilograms. So there's 1. They are not telling you that it's 1, but it's 1 kilogram there, right? And they tell you that the adult, where's the adult? The adult has a weight of 80 milligrams. So how much must you do? So if you look at mathematics, you know that for you to get an answer, right, in milligrams, right, your mathematics must be such that this kilogram here, you know, will be cancelled. And how do you do that, right? Is by multiplying, right, with 80 kilogram. That's why we are not dividing, because when they say 80 kilogram, it means it's 80 over 1. The 1 is implied again, right? So you multiply, but as you multiply the kilogram, this kilogram will be cancelled by that kilogram. You multiply 2 by 80, and then you get your 160 milligrams. Is it clear? I hope it makes sense.
Yes,
Yes. Yes. So let's look at another kind of calculation, right? So this calculation, we are saying here, the daily dose of a drug is 12 micrograms. It's 12 micrograms per kilogram. So again, per means, you know, it's 12 UG over 1 kg of body weight. So now it's a question, how many milligrams should be administered each day to a woman who weighs 55 kgs, right? So there's a number of issues that we need to try and resolve. Let me not use this red pen, right? The first problem we have is that the drug, the dosing, from when you read about the drug from the package insert, they've given us the answer in micrograms. You see that? Micrograms. The question says, how many milligrams, right? So this time we cannot use this thing the way, you know, we used it previously, because the drug is in micrograms, and then we want an answer in milligrams. So somehow we need to convert these micrograms to milligrams. And the other issue we have is that at the end of the day, we need to know what is the correct dose, right, for this lady who weighs 55 kgs. Yeah? Hello. You are with me, right? So let's have a look at it and see how we do it. So there's two ways. We can start by converting micrograms to milligrams, or because the dose is in micrograms per kilogram, we can start by determining the dose for this lady, right? After determining the dose, then we convert it to milligrams, right? So let's look at it. The drug, I hope you are listening because I hear voices. So try to mute if you have a background noise. So let's do it together. So if you look at the drug, right? The drug comes as 12 micrograms per kilogram, right? Now we need to determine the dose for this lady. I think that one by now you know it. We want to know the dose for this lady. So that's what we want to know. So we are going to multiply by 55 kilograms over 1, right? So the kilogram will cancel each other. And then what is 12 times 5? What did you get? Give me the answer. 12 times, 12 times 55. What did you get? 660. Yeah, 6601 micrograms. You see? Yeah, so it's 660 micrograms. But the question says, yeah, so the question says the answer must be in milligrams. There, the answer must be in milligrams. If the answer must be in milligrams, what is the relationship between a milligram and a microgram? Because you have to convert. So if we were converting a liter, so let's come back to this. They say to you, you have 2 liters of water, right? 2 liters of water, what is it in mils? That is the question, right? 2 liters of water, what is the value in mils? So you need to know the relationship between a liter. You need to know the relationship between a liter and milligrams, right? So if you look at it, if you had to do this one, you would say, well, it's 2 liters, right, multiplied by, what we know is that we want our answer to be in mils, right? So for every liter, there's how many mils? Who knows? 1,000. Yes, 1, you know, mils. 1,000 mils is 1 liter. Again. Yes, so it means mils, right? So this liter will cancel the liter. What is 2 times 1,000 there? It's 2,000. 2,000 mils. You see? So to answer this question here, right? How many mils are there in 2 liters? The first thing is to determine the relationship between your mils, and your liter. So which is quite important, right? Now, coming back to our question at hand. we are supposed to let me change the color again to blue. We are supposed to determine, so what we have done successfully is that we have determined the correct dose for this lady. So it's 12 micrograms per kilogram. She weighs 55 kilograms. Her dose is 660 micrograms. But now we are not going to be able to give it this way because we must give an answer in milligrams. So what is the relationship? What is the relationship between a milligram and a microgram? Who knows?
I don't know.
I think you must multiply by 1,000.
There is 1,000 there, but are we multiplying or not? So if you look at it there, for every 1 mil, there is 1,000 micrograms. Remember, at the end, the micrograms must cancel each other so that your answer becomes in mils. Right. Right. So the microgram will cancel the microgram, and then 660 times 1 is what? 660 times 1 is 660. It doesn't change.
It
right?
doesn't change.
It's 660 mils now because we are multiplying 660 by 1 mil. It's 660 mils, but then you divide by 1,000, right? So what is the answer?
Cancel.
You know how to divide. Say 0 number 1, 0 number 2, 0 number 3. So what is the answer? 0.6 mils. If you take your calculator, you say 660 divided by 1,000, it will give you
0.66.
Yes, 0.66. Yes, well, there's 266. So there's let's erase it a bit, and then
0.66.
So your answer is 0.66 what? Milligrams. Sorry, I think even here I made a mistake. Just on this part here. Right. So this would be milligrams. So even here it's milligrams, right? Milligrams. So 0.66 milligrams. You see? So there's two things you have learned here. Number one, what you have learned is that how do you calculate a dose? So here, the first step here, we calculated the dose for this lady, right? Which was 660 micrograms, right? The second part, which we have learned together now, right, is how to convert micrograms to milligrams, but it can be a liter to mils, right? Always identify the relationship, you use it to multiply, and then you get your answer as we have managed to get it. Right. Are you still with me? I hope so.
Yes, doctor.
Okay, great stuff.
Okay.
So, you have a question, ma'am?
Not really, but how we normally calculate it is also another way. I don't know if it's difficult or what. I would just say 12 divide by 1,000, and it will give me, I would say 12 divide by 1,000.
Yes.
Will give me 0.012. And then that 0.012, I will multiply it by 55.
Yes.
Yes.
No, it's the same, because remember I said you have two ways. You either start by calculating, let me do this. You either start by, you can either say, I want to start by calculating the dose, right? Or you can say, I want to start by converting, right? the micrograms to milligrams. So the way you have done it, you have said 12 micrograms multiplied by 1 milligram over 1,000. That's why you are dividing. So I have to give you the reason why we are doing it this way, right? Micrograms, do that, and it will give you 1, 2, 3. So your answer will be 0.012, right? So now this is now in milligrams, right? It's no longer in micrograms, right?
Yes.
Then you take this 0.012 milligrams and you multiply it by 55.
55.
In this 55, you need to know why you are multiplying, because you are saying, you know, it's 55 kilograms, and then you have got 1 milligram there. Milligrams cancel 1 milligram, you get your answer is 0.66. Yeah, I think I got it wrong there, but your answer is 0.66. So the key thing here is to make sure that you do two things. One, you convert and you calculate the dose. Or if you start with the dose, at the end you must convert it and make sure that you answer two questions, right? I hope that is clear, right? So here's another one. So for calculating doses for children, there's formulas, right? So sometimes, because children cannot be involved in studies, it's not allowed to involve or to include a child in a study. We then are able to determine the child's dose from the adult's dose, right? And you will find when you start to do your calculations in the book, you're going to find that there's the Clark's rule, there's the Young's rule, you know, so at least these ones are obvious because the rule has been given to you, right? So if you look at this one, Young's rule says, Young says, a few seconds, I don't want to use red. So Young says, if you want to get the child's dose, right? What you do, you need to have the age of the child in years, not months, right? Then you take the same age, you add 12 to that, you multiply by the adult dose of that specific drug, right? So that is quite important that you at least know. So, for example, this meperidine hydrochloride is 50 milligrams IMI 4 hourly or as needed for pain, right? So now you have a child who is 8 years old, right? How many milligrams would this child receive? So it's fine. The age in years, what is the child's age? Is 8, right? You divide it by the age of the child plus 12. So this 12 is given always. The only thing that you need to input is the age and the age there. And then you multiply by the adult dose, which was what? What was the adult dose? 50 milligrams, right? And then that should give you the child's dose, right? So if you look at it, solving one of the problems separately. So you have 8, then what is 8 plus 12? That will give you 8
20.
20. Do you see?
Yes.
Yeah. And then what does when you divide 8 by 20, what did you get on your calculator?
0. something. 0.125. 0.125.
I like, no, 8 divided by 20. 8 divided by 20 is 0.4.
0.4.
Yeah. Then you take this 0.4, you multiply it by 50 milligrams, and it gave you, what is your answer?
20 milligrams.
20 milligrams.
You see, 20 milligrams. Right. Don't forget BODMAS. Like hopla BODMAS. You divide first. Don't start by multiplying. You divide first, I'm sure you remember Botma, somewhere at school there, those days. Right, so this child will get meperidine hydrochloride 20 milligrams IMI, you know, when they have pain, or every 4 hours. Right. So with formulas, it's easy because all you need to do is to fill in the missing part, right? Okay. Why am I having the same thing twice? Might have missed a slide here. Okay, so here's a calculation number 5. Calculating the amount of medicine needed, right? So, and this one is important when you dispense, because if you cannot calculate the amount of medicine needed, it means you're either going to give too much drugs to your patients and they will end up abusing the drugs. Or what will happen, the medicines will get finished, you know, before their next appointment, and then they default, and then you have problems, right? So let's look at the first one. The first one is quite clear. It says that you are prescribing amoxicillin 250 milligrams, and these are capsules, right? And TID means 3 times a day for 5 days. So how many capsules must be dispensed? Can you give me the answer? How many capsules must be dispensed?
15.
15, okay. What are the other guys saying? They are quiet. Okay, let's do it together. So this will be 250 capsule, right? They say it's 3 times a day, so times 3. What does that give you? It means it's 3 per day. For how many days? For 5 days.
5 days.
And that gives you 15. So that answer was very correct. Right. Now let's look at the next one. So here you are saying it's they didn't. You see, you think these prescriptions are the same, but they are not the same, né? Because this one says milligrams. So probably this one is not a capsule. 125 milligrams is probably a solution. You know, the one that comes in powder, and then they mix it at the pharmacy for you. You prepare it, right? And then once you mix that powder with the fluid, I mean with water or a water solution, we call it a reconstituted medicine, right? It's reconstituted. Then you get the strength 125 milligrams per 5 mils, right? Now, if we think that, considering that maybe how many mils must this child get? So if the prescription is this way, how many mils must the child get to complete the medicine to have enough medicine in 5 days? How many mils? How many mils? Who has done the calculation?
75. Huh?
75 mils, okay. Is that what everyone is saying?
5.
All right, let's do it together. I'm hoping you are with me, né? I'm not leaving you guys behind. Yes, so let's see, let's look at it.
Yeah.
So we can start by converting first to mils, or we can even start first by getting how many milligrams does this child need, and then convert it to mils. So it's almost similar, you know, to what we just did, right? So let's look at it. So here, amoxicillin, 125 milligrams, 3 times a day for 5 days, right? So we can always say, well, let's start by converting. Actually, it's sort of given there, you know, like you must just multiply this 5 maybe by 15 or something. But let's do it practical. I want to see if I am able to teach it nicely, right? So you've got 125 milligrams, right, times 3, because this is what the child must get. The child must get 125 milligrams times 3. That means we have to multiply that by 3, and whatever we get, we save for 5 days, right? You can even start there. There's many ways to do this. So it's 125 times 3 per day times 5 days, right? So that's where this thing can start. What is that answer? What did you get?
What?
The child must get 125 milligrams times 3 for each day. So the child must get 375 milligrams, right? So if you look at just that part there, it will give you 375 milligrams, right? Then this 375 milligrams is what the child gets per day, right? Now we want to know for 5 days, how many milligrams must the child get? So times 5 again. So this gives you 1,875 milligrams, right? Are we together?
Yes.
Yes. But our answer must be in mils, right? And they've given us the conversion. Remember I said to convert from something, you need to know the relationship. So they've given us the relationship. The relationship is for every 5 mils, right? There is 125. Yo,
no, I don't want to ask. I want to talk about the thing.
Who's talking?
Yeah.
We are listening to the secrets. Let's mute. All right. So let's do it again, right? So we are saying here the relationship is for every 5 mils, there is 125 milligrams. Right. So that's what you're going to do. So to get the mils, the milligrams will cancel the milligrams. You will then say 1875 multiplied by 5 divided by 125. What did you get before I give you the answer?
25.
Times 5.
15.
You got it?
Yeah, 75.
25.
75 what?
75 mils.
Yes. You see? So a child who's prescribed this medicine must get the bottle. You know, if it's a 100 ml bottle, it should at least have 75 mils. And they always recommend that you can increase it by at least 25% of what is required, right? By 25%, because you know sometimes there's a spill. Sometimes with children the medicine is up on the face than in the mouth. So if you give them a 100 ml solution, it's fine. You know, it's not a face mesh. But if you give them a 50 ml bottle, they are going to run out of stock of the medicine before the next appointment. Right. I hope this is helpful, guys, as we continue. Right. So here's another one. You are calculating the amount of medicine needed, right? So here's a prescription for a patient. The patient must get prednisone 80 milligrams daily for 3 days, and this is quite common because it's a steroid. You know, we are not supposed to prescribe steroids forever because people end up with prescriptions, with side effects and infections, right? But also, you don't stop steroids abruptly. You taper the dose down slowly, right? Right? So then how many tablets must be dispensed? Because we're talking about a 5 milligram, we're talking about 5 milligram tablets. So what is your answer?
First one, I think, is
Okay.
48.
48 tablets. Pella, you are doing it this way. Remember, you get a prescription that says this patient must get prednisone 80 milligrams daily for 3
How many
days,
milligrams prednisone?
then
One
60 milligrams for 3 days, then 40 milligrams for 3 days, then 20 milligrams for 3 weeks.
The
You see,
first
3
one,
weeks is how many days? 21 days.
The first one,
the first one is 48, Mas.
48.
I want the final answer.
Or the finally.
Yes, how
And-
many tablets? Because you will never see the patient. You'll see the patient after the last prescription there. So how many? Can I see? I saw someone is commenting there.
So it's gonna be 48.
Raquel says he can't hear me.
192.
Yes. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Is it 192?
Raquel? Yeah, so let's do it together. Let's do it together. So how do you do it? You start with, remember we've got the 5 milligram tablet, again?
Yes.
You've got the 5 milligram tablet. So let's see. You start with 80 milligram divide by 5. What did you get?
For 16.
What did you get?
16.
80 divided by 5 gives you 16,
16.
right? Then for how many days?
3 days.
For 3 days. And what did you get as your answer?
48.
So it's 48. Again,
3 days.
Yes.
yes. The next one. What is 60 divided by 5?
12.
60 divided
12.
by 5 milligrams, it gives you
12.
12 times 3, it gives you
36.
36. Right? The next one, let me use maybe, I'm running out of colors. The next one is 40 divided by 5. What did you get when you divided 40 by 5?
8.
So it's
8
8 times 3.
3.
And that is equal to
24. 24.
yeah. And then you've got the last one, which is 20
20.
milligrams divided by 5 milligrams, and it gives you what?
4.
What is 20 divided? Yeah, it's 4 multiplied by
21.
21. What did that give you?
By 5.
84.
Mm-hmm.
8.
84. Right. So what is 48 plus 36 plus 24 plus 84?
192.
Yeah. I didn't have your screen. Okay. I'm hoping you guys can see what we are doing, because I see some guys are having a challenge. Are you all able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we
Yes.
are.
Because today we are using technology. I gotta get mathematics. 192. So your answer here is you see. Do you see it, guys?
Yes,
Yes.
Doctor.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Okay, let's do this one. So now we're looking at concentration. So this is, it's almost the same principle, just playing, you know, around with it, you know. So remember, with concentrations, whenever you hear concentration, just think of percentages, né? Just think of percentages all the time. Think of percentages. Whenever they ask you how much of this thing is in there, you know. So before we do this, maybe let me come up with a lousy example, you know. So let's say we are in a class, and in a class we have 3 chickens or 4 chickens, né? But we also have green chickens, you know. So if you want to understand percentages, just remember that always you calculate a percentage out of the whole, right? Out of the whole. So in this class here, right, there's how many learners? There's 6 learners. Do you see? There's 6 learners in this class, right? However, 2 of them are green and the other 4 are orange, right? So if all these learners pass, so they write a test and they pass, what is the percentage of the learners who have passed?
100%.
It will always
It's
be
100. 100.
I know I'm making it easy, but you will see when you get the complicated things. So you'll add these 2, they give you 6, then you say 6 over 6, it's 100%. You know, this is 100% pass mark. All of them, they have passed. So just remember that, ne?
Yes.
Just remember that. Don't forget. There's a reason why I'm showing you this, right? Now, let's look at it differently. They ask you what percentage of learners in the class, what percentage of learners in the class are green? Who can give me the answer?
%. 40%. 40%.
So the question is, what percentage of learners in the class are green? That is the question. So what is the answer? Is in this class, we have 2 of the 6 learners, right, that
3.3%.
are green. Right. So what is the answer?
33.3.
3.3.
You see now. So just remember, whenever you hear something about what proportion of this is in this thing, just try to think of this class. Please don't forget. Because you say 2 by 6, it gives you 0.33. You multiply by 100, it gives you 33.3. So that is very important. What percentage of these learners are orange? How many orange people do we have in the class? 4. Again. And it's 4 out of how many learners? 6. So what is your answer? You always multiply by 100. When you say what percentage, what proportion? Say it again.
66.6.
I trust your answer. I didn't do it. So I hope your answer is correct. So that's very important. Yeah? So now, thinking of this class again, let's look at this particular example, the question which we are being asked here, right? So the question is, you have 10 grams of charcoal. You've got 10 grams of charcoal. It is mixed with, what is it mixed with? 65 grams, right?
Yes.
Of another powder, which we don't know the name, right?
Yes.
Now, the question is, what is the concentration? What is the percentage contribution of the charcoal in the whole solution? So now, to make it easy for you, so that you don't forget my example, right?
So you're gonna say.
So now, this class of ours, yeah, do another new one. So don't forget this class. This class is very important, because if you forget the class, you'll have problems. Yeah? So here's our class again, right? In our class, we have 10 times charcoal, and we have 65 times of another thing that we don't know, right? So the whole class is made up of how many? 75 units. Right. Now the question is simple. Now if you look at it, it doesn't even cause you headache anymore. You know, they are all they're asking you is that in this class, what percentage of its contents are made up of charcoal? That is all they're asking you, right? So
Yes.
how will you work it out? You say, well, the class itself has got 75 students. However, we want to know what is the percentage that is contributed by charcoal, and you multiply by 100. What is your answer?
13.3.
13.3.
I will trust you because I didn't do it. So I hope that you won't mislead me. Eh?
Nah.
So your answer is 13.31. So just to summarize the evening, if you go to now your learning activity that we need to cover, learning activity 4 from your learner assessment guide, you've got 2 calculations that you need to do, right? So the first one says the recommended maintenance dose. Just hold on. Maybe let me stop here a few seconds. Yes. All right. Thanks about that. Hey, yeah, all right. So coming back to this, just remember that if you so learning activity number 4 says the recommended maintenance dose for Betlate so the recommended maintenance dose. So if you have someone who's got asthma and you need to prescribe for them, you have to prescribe 100 micrograms, which should be given twice daily, right? So the commercial inhaler, but when you buy it, so there's a difference between, the dosing that is required. So that is the question we are asking here. The recommended maintenance dose for Betlate is 100 micrograms twice daily, right? And when you buy it, it's able to give you 200 inhalations, and each inhalation is equivalent to 50 micrograms. So they're asking here, how many inhalers must you dispense if you want to give a 60-day supply? Do you guys have any answer for this? Who wants to try? What is your answer? No one.
Four.
4. Okay. I hear you. Any other offers?
2.
2. Okay. Yeah, you see this one, because it's your exercise, I can't give you the answer, but I can guide you. I can guide you, right? I can't give you the answer, but I can just give you a guide.
Mhm.
Where's my pen? I don't know where I have dropped my pen. Hopefully I find it. Okay, let me stop sharing here, and hopefully my system doesn't fail me again.
Oh, good.
All right, so let's look at it. What is a few seconds? Let me see if I can get a. I don't know. Right? I hope you are following, because I'm just giving you a guide, right? Am I correct? What did you guys get? Are my numbers correct there?
Yes.
So if you look at it, right, for us to control and manage the patient properly, we must prescribe 100 micrograms times 2, reflecting twice a day, and we must be able to give this for 60 days, right? So for the patient to have enough medicines, the patient needs 12,000 should I say, inhalations. The patient needs 12,000 inhalations. However, one pump would only be able to provide the patient with 10,000 inhalations. That means we are running short of how many inhalations? 2,000 inhalations. So it means the patient is going, if you give one pump inhaler, the patient is going to run out of stock. Ne? And they will come back with an asthmatic attack. So that is the big challenge there. So it means the patient needs to get at least 2 times inhalers, right?
So I was correct.
The patient needs to get at least 2 inhalers. So because that is the question that you are being asked there, right? That is the question you are being asked, and you can see here, they are saying if one spray supplies 50 micrograms, how many sprays will supply 100 micrograms? So it's 2, right? So to supply this twice a day, how many sprays are required per day? So remember, it's the spray gives you 100. So let me annotate again. So remember, the spray gives you 50. The patient requires 100. If you are to supply how many sprays per day, it will be 2 times sprays, right? In the morning and another 2 times, so AM, and then another 2 times when? At night. So if you look at it per day, it's like 4 sprays. You know, so for 60 days, the patient would require how many sprays? It will be 4 sprays times 60 days, right? And then will one container meet the requirements? No, right? Can you give supply of a part? So the inhaler, remember we said the patient needs 12,000 inhalations, right? But the system is only able to give the patient 10,000. So you cannot say I'll give him 1.5. You can't give. So the answer here is no. You can't give 1.5 spray. It's 2 sprays. It's 2 metered dose in inhalations, right? The spray. You can't give 1.5 asthma spray. So it's 2 sprays. You give 1 spray, the patient will run out of stock. You give 2 sprays, the patient will be okay. So that is quite important. So I hope I don't lose you. This one is similar to the one we have done. So here we are saying the patient is on prednisone, right? And what you see is that if I'm just analyzing it for you, but you'll do the maths alone because I've given you the answer already. So what you see is that, remember now you have, in the government sector, you have your 5 milligram tablets, right? In the public sector, I mean, in the private sector, they have the 25 milligrams, right? And what you see is that the tablets are also scored, right? That means if you break them, you get half this side and half that side, right? So depending on the strength that you have, you would have to calculate the number of tablets for this patient. For example, here, if we use the 25, if you're working in the private sector, you can use 25 milligrams. In the public sector, you just use 5 milligrams. So remember, we did this. So the first scenario there, the first scenario says 50 milligrams per day for 10 days. So how are you going to do it? You'll say 50 divide by 5 milligrams times what? Times 10. You get your answer. Ne? Then you come to the next one. There it is. So it will be 25 milligrams divide by 5. That's in the public sector, right? Times 10. 10, right? You get your answer. So far you are using the 5 milligrams. Don't forget. So because you need to count the number of tablets, right? So just remember. So if you look at 50 divided by 5, you get your number. There's probably 10 is gonna give you 100 and so on. Then before we do this one, let's come to this one. It says 5 milligrams for 10 days, right? So that will be 5 milligrams divided by a 5 milligram times 10. So really this one is 10 tablets, right? Here it's gonna be 5 times 10, that will give you 50 tablets. Here it will be 10 times 10, it's likely to give you 100 tablets, right? But then you need to figure out this one, because now it's 12.5, right? So if you look at the 12.5 there, just to finish the day for you. You see, today I'm giving you advice. I'm even doing it for you, which is okay. So 12.5 is made up of a 10 milligrams plus a 2.5 milligrams. So use your 5 milligram there, right? And they say for how many? For 10, it's for 10 days also, right? It's for 10 days. So it will be your 5 divided by 10, it gives you 2. 2 times 10, it gives you 20, right? So at the end of the day, you will say 100 plus 50 plus 10 plus this 20 here, right? This 20, what is that? 150, 160, 170, 180. So your answer will be 180 of the 5 milligram tablet, right? Now we need to solve this one here. So you're gonna take 1.5 milligrams and pull it in half, right? And then you can say give your patient 1 times the 2.5 milligrams. Or if you give it as a 5 milligram, it might be your 181 tablet. Then you how many tablets, and then you do that, right? So that is how we deal with it. Right. Then you'll be done with learning activity number 4. You see, today I have done my best, I think, to really give you some tips and ideas, and I hope that it was worth your time. Right? Great. I'm sorry it's late, but I hope it was worth it, and you'll be able to do your exercise. Remember, don't just do this test. Make sure that you visit, you know, that page. Please make sure that you really take time to visit that page. So let me do this so that you can see what am I talking about. Yes, I want you to focus on this page here. I hope the slide is not too slow. Yes, please make sure you go to this specific page and do all the exercises, because when you do your summative assessment, you're going to get a lot of calculations. So I've helped you with your learning activity, but I can't help you with your exam. So really make an effort to try and do your best in that space. Right. Any questions you have? Okay, sorry about that. Yes, are you guys okay?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, you're fine, doctor.
Thank you.